Good evening. I'd like to call the meeting to order. At this time, I'd like to ask Councilman Bellard to lead us in a prayer, and then ask Councilman J. Castile to lead us in the pledge.
We, the members of the Lafayette City Parish Council, having been chosen to represent the people of this locality, beg of the Almighty God to enlighten our minds so that our work will be just and fair in all things. Give us the courage and strength to fulfill our duties according to the laws of the land, and in so doing, fulfilling also thy will on earth and in heaven, through Christ our Lord. Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilman Bellard. Thank you, Councilman Castile. Appreciate it very much. Good evening. I'd like to welcome each and everyone here tonight for tonight's meeting. We welcome you to the City Parish Council meeting. We, as your representatives in the Lafayette Consolidated Government, welcome your involvement and encourage your participation. This meeting is a public hearing. If you wish to address the council on any item on this agenda, please fill out the request form in the foyer. The request to address the council form must be filled out and submitted prior to the call of the agenda item, or you will not be given the opportunity to speak. If assistance is needed with submitting this request, staff is available to help. In the event a speaker has completed their commitments prior to the expiration of their allotted 5 minutes, any remaining time thereafter shall be forfeited. If you have any materials you wish to submit to the council, please give those to Ms. Veronica Williams, who's seated to my left and in the middle. In an effort to allow everyone an opportunity to be heard, the 5-minute rule will be in effect. Speakers shall refrain from debating, personal attacks, and from making confrontational and derogatory comments. I will make sure that that is followed this evening. I'm requesting that the first row to my left be used for media only. Lastly, food and drinks are not allowed in the auditorium, and all phones and electronic devices shall be silenced from this point moving forward. I'm also requesting that anyone who approaches the council state your name and title for the official record. Meeting procedures are by resolution and not by Robert's Rules of Order. Documents including agenda, ordinances, resolutions, and minutes related to this meeting are posted online at LafayetteLA.gov, or you can refer to the web address on the top of the agenda. Council encourages your involvement and participation by volunteering for boards and commissions. If you are interested in finding out which board suits your interests, call 291-8800 or pick up a pamphlet at the front door. Chair announcements. Moving to chair announcements. Ordinance number 0-122-2018. Fiscal year 18-19 budget ordinance has been returned to the council office by the mayor president with 4 line item vetoes. This line item vetoes will come before the council and the LPUA for reconsideration in a special joint meeting at 5:15 on October 2nd, 2018. Item number 9, ordinance number 0136-2018. Relative to rezoning case number zone 2018-17, the author has requested this item be deferred indefinitely as development and planning staff has determined that the rezoning to MN-2 is not necessary. Item number 20, ordinance number 0-162-2018, relative to a memorandum of understanding with the Lafayette Parish Sheriff's Office. Legal has requested a proposal amendment to substitute the memorandum with a revised version including minor corrections. That's item number 22. Item 27, assessment appeals A, B, and C have been withdrawn per the appellant's request. Item number 32, introduction of ordinance 0-171-2018 relative to the condemnation of a home on 2nd Street is being deferred prior to introduction until such time as the Development and Planning Department can determine its historical designation. I don't see any other chair announcements. I'm going to move along to council announcements. Is there any council announcements at this time? Okay. Council announcements? Seeing none. Going to move over to the Executive Mayor President's report. At this time, I'd like to recognize our Mayor President, Mr. Robideau.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We do have two proclamations where we're going to recognize two historic properties. The first four paragraphs that I read apply to both, and then they each have their individual verbiage. So, first one is for the Coca-Cola bottling plant, the historic asset that is at Stephanie Cornet and others are here. The proclamation reads, whereas Lafayette Consolidated Government recognizes local historic preservation as an effective tool for revitalizing neighborhoods, fostering local pride, and maintaining community character while enhancing livability, and whereas the citizens of Lafayette, Louisiana have demonstrated their interest in and acknowledged the importance of historic preservation for people of all ages, walks of life, and ethnic backgrounds to celebrate and preserve the tangible aspects of the heritage that has shaped us. And whereas through Lafayette's comprehensive planning process, citizens identified the need to expand education and awareness of Lafayette's unique history and cultural identity and communicate the value of culture and history. And whereas the Lafayette Governing Authority responded to citizens' call for historic education and preservation through the creation of the Lafayette Preservation Commission to promote the importance of maintaining and preserving older structures with significant historical and cultural value and the potential to serve as neighborhood anchors and community assets through the designation of historic assets to the Lafayette Historic Register. And individually for this property, whereas the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government recognizes the significance of the Four Corners area as a historic economic and cultural hub and a neighborhood center situated at the intersection of the only two major vehicular transportation corridors through Lafayette before the 1960s, and whereas the set of buildings located at 1506 Cameron Street were constructed circa 1947 and circa 1968 to house the Coca-Cola bottling plant for Coca-Cola Bottling Company of Lake Charles, Inc., a Louisiana corporation founded in 1907, is an important anchor for a group of buildings which are valuable community assets with the potential to serve as a catalyst to revitalization for the historic Four Corners area. Now, therefore, I, Joel Robideau, Mayor President of Lafayette Consolidated Government, do hereby proclaim the Coca-Cola bottling plant building as a significant historic asset and call upon citizens across the community to proudly participate in this special observance. The second historical designation is for the Lafayette Lumber Company building. Again, the first four whereas clauses are the same as the previous. And then specifically for this property, Whereas Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government recognizes the significance of the downtown cultural district area as a historic, economic, and cultural hub in an area of distinctive character, showcasing examples of our city's heritage and historic architecture. And whereas the building located at 130 South Buchanan Street, constructed circa 1958 for a company that began operations as, I should have asked for help, Vorden Bowman Lumber Company in Lafayette in the early 1800s and moved to the site around 1925 as Lafayette Lumber Company, represents a significant part of Lafayette's commercial heritage and historic architectural fabric. Now therefore I, Joel Robideau, Mayor President of Lafayette Consolidated Government, do hereby proclaim the Lafayette Lumber Company building as a significant historic asset excuse me, and call upon citizens across the community to proudly participate in this special observance. Mr. Chairman, the representatives from the LPTFA, Rebecca Miller and A.D. Daniels, are here representing the property. And that's all I have on my report. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, now that we're done with the executive mayor's report, I just need to make a quick announcement from the fire department. No standing, please. Everyone must be seated. We are at the capacity. Full capacity. If you happen to leave, you are not guaranteed a seat upon your return. Others are waiting to get in. So let's just make sure. Obviously, media is standing, but any other personnel needs to make sure that they're sitting down. And like I said, if you do leave, it's not a guarantee that you can get back in. And obviously, if you have a blue card or you filled out to speak, then naturally you can get back in. Okay. All right. Now that we're done with the mayor executive's President's report, we'll go to comments from the public. Comments from the public on any matters that is not on this agenda item. Let me remind you, if you're here to speak about the resolution, this is not the time to speak about it. This is the opportunity to speak about something that is not on the agenda. Just to be clear, to make sure that you filled out your card right and you understand, okay? All right, with that said, this portion of our meeting is an opportunity to make your voice heard before the council, the administration, and the public. This is the time to speak about topics that are not included as agenda items. As I noted earlier, requests to make comments specific to an agenda item should be made prior to the call for that item by completing a request to address the council blue card. Please, we request that all matters regarding specific city parish employees be directed to the administration and that it not be addressed at this public forum. We as a council have a concern for the privacy and protection of government employees. With that said, however, if your concern is not resolved in either an expeditious or satisfactory fashion, there are other avenues which can be pursued, and we ask that you follow up with the council office. Please, confrontational statements and/or threats will not be tolerated. We're here tonight to conduct ourselves in a very professional manner, and I ask that everyone here tonight treat others how you want to be treated. It will not be tolerated. We ask that you conduct yourself in a civil manner and that you do that with the same courtesy that you would expect of others. 5-minute rule is in effect, and this is for comments from the public on items that are not on the agenda. First speaker, please.
Our first speaker is Andrew Abear, and he signed in both as a registered voter of the parish and a registered voter of the city.
Okay.
Good evening. According to your charter, it says the council shall determine by resolution its own rules and order of business. The council shall operate from an agenda which shall have been published prior to the meeting. On July 10th, when you introduced the ordinance to amend the Home Rule Charter, the agenda item listed and published was number 45. At the meeting, it was relocated to number 10. Quote, Cox announced that item number 45 with reference to introductory ordinance number 0121-2018 charter amendments would be considered after item number 9. So I want to know, what do you operate by? Do you operate by the published agenda, or do you just publish something and then decide the order of that agenda? Answer, please.
I'll refer to Mr. Escott.
The council rules allow for the chairman rules, to manage the meeting as he deems appropriate. I believe it's been a while, since July 10th, I think it was, so if memory fails, but it was a decision by the chairman to move the item for efficiency purposes to be addressed early to accommodate the public that was here, in anticipation that the meeting would go into the wee hours of the morning, and you wanted to try and allow the public that was here an opportunity to be heard on that matter, and so you accommodated those members that were present. It does not invalidate the publication of the agenda.
Okay.
So to accommodate the citizens who were not here, who planned on coming late to that meeting to address that agenda item, you basically denied them that, because they were under the impression that your agenda was going to go late because it was number 45. So I had to call somebody and tell them, you better get here quick, because they moved it up. So really, you really don't tell us what's going on unless we come to the very beginning of the meetings. So can I get a copy of your resolution, of your rules, that indicates that you can change the numerical order and adjust everything?
Whatever you need, sir.
Because that's what it says.
Whatever you need. Feel free to
Okay.
make a public request, get all the information you need.
I was interested because I read the quote amendments to the Home Rule Charter, and under the Utilities Department it said that there shall be submitted annual audits to the mayor and council, and that charter requirement now was taken out. So I was curious, is why wouldn't we want to have an annual audit of our utility bill presented to the councils? What I also noticed is that in order to amend anything on that new amended Home Rule Charter, if the city of Lafayette wants to have an election for a mayor with the city council and a parish council, to amend the charter, the city council has to approve an amendment, and the parish council has to approve that amendment also. So I noticed that in a lot of the dual joint requirements now, like you have to have a joint required budget hearing between the city and the parish. You can't have two separate ones. Well, the city can have one if they want to pay for it separately. You can have joint council personnel. So you're going to have a joint budget of some sort. So the city council, the new city council, and the new parish council are now going to have to argue about how much each one's going to pay for all of these joint ventures. That's going to be interesting. I still think you need to do what we voted on, to merge the two governments into one. The city of Lafayette no longer exist. It's just a legal entity. And what's interesting, and in your new charter, is you're now creating a parish legal entity also. So you can have three councils now. You can have the city council, the parish council, and them acting both as a city parish council. So I guess we're going to have a city lawyer, a parish lawyer, and a city parish lawyer. Great. More expenses. I think you have some fallacies. Thank you.
Okay. Next speaker,
Next
please.
speaker is Patrick LeBeau.
My name is Patrick LeBeau, President of the 705. Good evening, council members. My name is Patrick LeBeau, resident of District 6, and honored to be represented by Mr. Bruce Conk. I'm the Regional Sales Manager for the Daily Advertiser and currently serve as President of the 705, Young Leaders for a Better Acadiana. And it is as 705 President I address you today. Founded in 2007, the 705 is a group of young community leaders whose mission is to develop members personally, professionally, and civically. We connect our members to other young professionals and community leaders. As an organization, we engage in issues affecting Acadiana, and we provide opportunities for our members to develop their skills to lead, giving us our three-part philosophy: connect, engage, lead. In addition to leadership development opportunities, we also promote and encourage a spirit of philanthropy, volunteerism, and civic engagement. And with over 50 events each year, our members have an opportunity almost weekly to do so. We have also engaged the community through many associations, events, and other volunteer opportunities, including Recover Acadiana, Embrace a Space, Project Front Yard, Lafayette's Comprehensive Plan, the Games of Acadiana, the I-49 Task Force, LAPESC, the University Avenue Corridor Study, the 20 Under 40 Awards, and the 24-Hour Citizen Project. Over the last decade, we've had numerous local leaders we're proud to claim as members of the 705. They include District 8 Council Member Liz Hebert, the current CEO and President of Lafayette Convention and Visitor Center, Ben Berthelot, who's a founding member and served as first president of 705, Louisiana State Representatives Jean-Paul Cousson and Blake Miguez, Louisiana Economic Development's Assistant Secretary, Mandy Mitchell, Lafayette Parish School Board members Eric Knezik, Justin Sintani, and Jeremy Hidalgo, and countless community leaders, including Ann Falgu, Brittany Broussard, Carly Armlabar, Corey Frank, Corey Jack, Elizabeth E.B. Brooks, Gretchen Vanacore, Jeremy Broussard, Kate Durio, Kenny Maggard, Kevin Blanchard, Liam Doyle, Michelle Ezel, Missy Bienvenue, Patricia Parks Thompson, Ryan Cazares, Skyra Rideau, Tina Bingham, and Zach Barker, among hundreds more. So what? What does it matter if young people want to connect with one another, engage in the community, and be emerging leaders? You may have heard about younger generations outpacing older generations, and Lafayette is no exception. According to census data and population projections, 35% of Lafayette Parish's current population is between 21 to 44 years old, making us the single largest generational group and nearly equal to all adults 45 and older. We challenge the council and any other community leaders to get engaged with the 705 and connect with the future leaders of Acadiana. We are willing and ready to take on the challenges the future holds, and we believe our input will be invaluable to anyone who listens. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
He was the final speaker.
Okay. All right. We'll move to resolutions. Jeremy, can you please read?
Resolution 60, 2018, a resolution of the Lafayette City Parish Council certifying the population census count for the fire service units in Lafayette Parish for the purpose of distribution of the 2% insurance rebate program.
Motion by Councilman Bellard, second by Councilman Conk. Any council discussion? Seeing none. Public comment? Okay, please call the roll.
District 1?
Yes.
District 2? District 3? District 4?
Yes.
District 5?
Yes.
District 6?
Yes.
District 7? Yes. District 8? Yes. District 9? Yes. Motion is approved. Resolution 61, 2018, a resolution of the Lafayette City Parish Council authorizing the Community Development Department to submit grant applications to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development for grants to clean up lead and other housing-related health hazards.
Need a motion in a second? Motion by Councilman Boudreaux, second by Councilman Castillo. Council discussion, Councilman Boudreaux.
Thank you, sir. Is someone here to handle that on behalf of community development?
They're probably in the back.
They may be
Is
in the
that Diane
large
right there?
conference room.
The grant? Yes, please, thank you.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Diane Branham. I'm Housing and Federal Programs Manager.
Thank you so much, Diane. Very quickly, is this related to the lead abatement and will improve the ability to rehab houses going forward?
Yes, it is. It's an application that will take us some time to put together, and we'll apply next year. And if we get the award, then it would be strictly to abate lead in homes.
Okay, and that would, of course, then make them eligible for rehab going forward.
We'll be able to do a little bit of rehab in conjunction with the grant if we're successful.
If successful, right.
But it won't be a lot of rehab. It'll be only minor rehab in association with the lead abatement.
What has been abated. Okay. If you could provide me with any information that you have at your disposal and any assistance that you may need with this. We've talked about this for a couple of years now, so thank you all for identifying it as other communities have been utilizing this, and I think it's going to be beneficial. So know that here to help if needed, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Not seeing any other council discussion. Any public comment?
Yes, sir.
Okay, please call the roll.
District 2? Yes. District 3?
Yes.
District 4?
Yes.
District 5? Yes. District 6?
Yes.
District 7? Yes. District 8? Yes. District 9?
Yes.
District 1?
Yes.
Motion to adopt is approved. Resolution 62, 2018, a resolution of the Lafayette City Parish Council denouncing the Lafayette Public Library's approval of the program entitled Drag Queen Storytime as a Lafayette Public Library programmed event for children ages 3 to 6.
Okay. Motion by Councilman Bellard, second by Councilman Terrio. At this time, just for the record and for the media and for everyone watching, I'm going to refer to Mr. Paul Escott to go ahead and please read a statement that was issued, I guess, a week or two ago on behalf of the council, 7 members, just so everyone can get a clear understanding of what was issued and the position.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a copy of a media distribution email dated August 31st, 2018, entitled "Council Brings Clarity to Their Role in Drag Queen Storytime." As the chairman of the Lafayette City Parish Council, I am sending the following message on behalf of the council with reference to the Drag Queen Storytime event scheduled for October 6, 2018 at the main library in downtown Lafayette. With expressions of passion, council members have received support for and opposition to the program. Further, there is a petition that is circulating for presentation to the council voicing opposition to the Drag Queen Storytime. Similarly, there have been requests that the council vote to either cancel or move the event to another location. For clarification, the council members do not make decisions with reference to the day-to-day programming services of the Lafayette Public Library. These decisions are made solely by the staff of the Lafayette Public Library and could only be overturned by its Board of Control, should the board decide to consider the cancellation of any activities. The Lafayette City Parish Council, as a whole, appoints 7 members to the 8-member Board of Control. However, the council does not dictate board actions or influence how its members should vote. This is by design, as it is not the intent of the council that political influences be impressed upon board members and their decisions. Unlike the Lafayette Mayor President, who could either serve on the board or appoint an officer or employee of Lafayette Consolidated Government to serve on his behalf, no single council member has a direct or individual appointment to the board. Again, appointments are made by the council as a whole. The question has come up with reference to removing board members. However, there is no council legislation that speaks to removal of Lafayette Public Library Board of Control members. The council appreciates the willingness of citizens who volunteer for these unpaid board positions, taking time away from their families to serve their community. The council makes appointments as a whole and/or direct appointments to 32 plus other LCG boards and commissions, and does not interfere with the day-to-day decisions for those administrative and advisory bodies. With that being said, the council did not make the decision on the drag queen story time and is not unable to cancel or modify the program which was approved by the library director and staff. By no means is this intended to signal that the council is taking a stand for or against the program. As this matter continues to be debated, it should be clear that the council does not make the final decision on whether the drag queen story time is held. Disclaimer, Council Districts 5 and 9 are not included on this press release, and it's signed by the Chairman of the Council, Kevin Knockout.
Okay. And just for clarification, I guess I will ask you to, can you give me a definition of the resolution or a resolution? What does it stand? What is it? What is the definition of it?
Sure. Perhaps the easiest way to do that would be to refer to the charter, which describes what a resolution is under the Lafayette Consolidated Government Charter. Under Section 2-11, paragraph C, it reads as follows. An act of the council which is not to have the force of law may be enacted by resolution. A resolution may be used by the council for purposes such as a formal expression or will of the council, to authorize a person or persons to sign legal and financial documents for a project or purpose previously approved by ordinance, and as may be authorized by this charter.
Okay, so easy terms, resolution, should tonight's vote be all yes, all no, however it goes, does tonight's action stop the programming?
No, sir. It simply evidences the will of the council or the expression of the council.
Okay, so just wanted that to be clear for everyone that's here this evening and the media and everyone out there. Okay. Councilman Bellard.
Yes, for the record, can we read the resolution in its entirety, please? That's all I have, thank you.
Resolution number R-062-2018, a resolution of the Lafayette City Parish Council denouncing the Lafayette Public Library's approval of the program entitled Drag Queen Story Time as a Lafayette Public Library programmed event for children ages 3 to 6. Be it resolved by the Lafayette City Parish Council that, whereas the Lafayette City Parish Council appoints a majority of the members of the Lafayette Public Library Board of Control, and whereas the Lafayette City Parish Council approves the budget of the Lafayette Public Library, and whereas it is the goal of the Lafayette City Parish Council that the public's tax dollars be spent wisely, that is, always considering whether an expenditure of public dollars is both appropriate and serves the needs of its citizens, and whereas public dollars have been used to promote a Lafayette Public Library program entitled Drag Queen Story Time, recommended for children ages 3 to 6 to be held on Saturday, October 6, 2018 at the main library. And whereas on October 21, 2018, Lafayette Mayor President Joel Robideau issued a press release entitled Statement on Library Drag Queen Storytime Event, a copy of which is attached hereto. And whereas members of the general public have asked that their representatives on this Lafayette City Parish Council publicly express their position on this matter, parentheses, for illustrative purposes, a copy of one such email is attached. Now therefore be it further resolved by the Lafayette City Parish Council that all of the aforementioned whereas clauses are adopted as a part of this resolution. Section 2, the Lafayette City Parish Council maintains that the Lafayette Public Library's Drag Queen Storytime event for children ages 3 to 6 is not an age-appropriate educational program. Section 3, as a result, the Lafayette City Parish Council hereby declares that it does not support the Lafayette Public Library's approval of the program entitled Drag Queen Storytime as a Lafayette Public Library programmed event. Section 4, all resolutions or parts thereof in conflict herewith are hereby repealed. This resolution having been submitted to a vote, the results were as follows.
Okay, thank you very much. Councilman Terrio.
Just to clarify, Mr. Escott, this council does review and approve the library's multi-million-dollar budget. Is that correct?
That's my understanding, yes.
Okay. The resolution was brought forward. Basically, we were asked that the council members provide a position on the issue to those constituents that they're accountable to. What I'd like to do now, if you don't mind, just by a show of hands, how many people here do not support the resolution as read? Raise your hand. How many of you support the resolution asking your council members to take a position? Please raise your hand. Okay, thank you all very much. That's all I have for now. I'll tender any further questions until after public speaking. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Councilwoman Annette Cook.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to speak briefly about where I stand on this with reference to this resolution tonight. I actually have already been quoted in the paper regarding my personal opinion that this program is not appropriate for children 3 to 6 years old. This resolution addresses this as well as it falls in line as how I feel about having 3-year-olds involved in this event. My yes vote for this resolution will only give my personal opinion, as stated earlier with regards to the targeted age. This resolution merely seeks our opinion, but does not have the power to cancel this event. My opinion will not cancel story time, and my opinion should not dictate what others can decide with regards to their own families. I respect that all families in the community have the right to choose what activity they feel is appropriate for their own children. As a mother of 5 children and a teacher at a Catholic school of ages 4 to 14, I just personally do not feel that this program geared to ages 3 to 6-year-olds is an appropriate audience for this event. So this is why I will be voting yes for the resolution. Thank you.
Okay. All right. We'll now move to public comment. Before we call the first speaker, I'm going to simply ask everyone in the room. We have 76 speakers signed up. Okay? You heard tonight that no matter how this thing goes, it's not law, and that we have no jurisdiction and no action will be taking place. This is simply a resolution. With that being said, because there's 76 speakers, I will ask that after everyone speaks, no one applause so we can get to the next person, okay? There's a lot of emotion in this room. There's a lot of passion, okay? I'm willing to entertain it as long as everyone in this room is respectful of one another. We're not going to hooray for one and boo the other, okay? We're all human beings. We're all walks of life. Everyone has the same right. So it runs smoothly and no one gets offended. The first warning is right now. No applauding. If it happens, I'm going to warn you again. After the 3rd time, I'm going to get everyone out of the room, and whoever filled that blue card will be able to speak to us 9 councilmen and administration. Is that understood? Raise your hand. Can I get a vote? We all in agreement? Okay. I want it to be very professional, and I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate where you stand on the issue, and I just want you to respect administration and respect the council. Don't talk to us like it's our fault or you got something with us. We're here. We're going to listen, but let's just do it very professionally, okay? With that being said, I'd like to call the first speaker.
Mr. Chair, we did have 101 citizens who did not wish to speak, who signed in to support the resolution, and we did have 24 citizens who did not wish to speak, who signed in opposition to the resolution. And likewise, there were 63 citizens who called the council office to state their support against the resolution, and 209 for the resolution. Our first speaker of 76 is Patricia V. Edwards.
And who would be the next speaker?
And the next speaker is James Crumbling, I'm sorry.
Okay.
And could you come up, Mr. Crumbling? There are 2 speakers, so you'll be already up when she completes her comments.
Correct. And for each person coming up to speak, you have 5 minutes, and just please state your name and title for the official record.
Okay, I have not timed this, but I thought this might be an advantage to all.
When the horn goes off after 5, I'm going to ask nicely, that you
Give
stop.
me a warning.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, my name is Patricia Viator Edwards. I've lived in Lafayette, Louisiana all my life.
Can you lower the mic so we can hear you, Pam?
Sure. How's
Thank
that?
you.
I'm a retired critical care nurse. I've practiced for the last 44 years and recently retired in the last 2. I proudly hold a library card and visit it twice monthly. I adore the staff as well as the facility. It is important that the council and audience know that I am not a hater. In this, I am passionate. All lives matter. The division of saying that this particular life matters more than the other, that's the division in itself. We just have to recognize that all lives do matter. I'm not representing religion and our political party. That said, I am here to question the education of the library board, specifically their lack of education concerning child development. There is certainly a knowledge deficit. Child development experts clearly were not consulted in this issue. Thus lies the issue. The target age group, 3 to 6 years, have little to no attention span. 3-year-olds cannot always negotiate their pull-ups or identify if they have soiled these pull-ups. A 6-year-old cannot tie their shoes. My question is, why is this target age for the drag queen story time? I just don't understand why the necessity. What is the benefit for anyone? At best, a child will associate the presenter as a clown, and I do not think this community wants to represent themselves as clowns. My suggestion is that the community conduct a meeting targeting an appropriate adult audience. Accommodations would be provided by the Lafayette Library System. The council members that have chosen to abstain from voting concern me. Could I ask for a show of hands? I know Ms. Cook has said how she thinks. Can I ask everyone else how they think? Mr. Castillo?
It's not allowed. You get the 5 minutes to talk.
So I can't get your opinions on how you feel about this?
That'll be for the vote when it comes up.
All right. Common sense measures were clearly not served. Oh, I'm sorry, let me go back. Common sense measures were clearly not observed. My concern is also that anyone that does not agree with my concern that this should not be allowed for the reasons stated will not serve perhaps another term. I personally am not going to support anyone that feels the opposite of me. I'm also very concerned about the millage that will come up for the library. I adore the library. They know me by my first name. I will vote against millage, and I think that's sinful. Again, it's not a religious issue, and it's not a party issue. It's strictly common sense. Doesn't make I would curse, but I don't think I can. It doesn't make a bit of sense to me that someone would entertain in costume 2 or 3 6-year-old who's not going to know what they're doing anyway. So I don't understand the point. Have a meeting for adults elsewhere. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker is James Crumling, and Jared Eubanks will follow Mr. Crumling.
My name is James Crumling. I'm the host of Freedom Forum on AOC and also the president of the Acadiana Patriots. Over the past month, I've done a lot of research on this subject. I want to make something clear. I heard and got some feedback. I couldn't be at the meeting last night. My view on this is that everybody has a choice in life what they want to be and what they support. This is not about that. This is not, I heard that there's hate being spewed from our side that support this, that don't support the meeting. That's not true. Basically, it comes down to the fact of what your ethics are versus the other ethics. What do you think? I have some grandchildren that are in that age group. And after all the studies that I read, pro and con, it's not a good thing. I don't know why we would allow this to take place in our community. This is going on in over 40 states. This is bigger than Lafayette, Louisiana. This is a movement. And I think that it seriously concerns me at the age of 72 to see these types of things taking place. There's a lot of stuff going on in our schools today that you and I are not totally aware of. And some of the things that I've seen, I really seriously wish that there is a way we could deter this thing to the future, or not even at all. I don't support it. It concerns me. I watched a lot of videos. I've seen the videos from Massachusetts, New York, New Orleans. Okay, and now the other thing was that the library, in my eyes, the people that are responsible on that committee have not been transparent. And that was made clear by a 425-page report that was an answer to Joe Robideau's questions. And in there, some of the truth came out. I don't have all the facts. I didn't write anything down, and I'm not one known for having a bunch of papers in front of me. But it concerned, the other thing that concerns me, you as a council sit here and you appoint those 7 people, but yet you say you have no control. I don't understand that. You appoint those people, and if it's something that goes against your grain, I don't understand how we don't have some type of control. We're letting these decisions, in my eyes, being made by unpaid, unelected representatives that are making decisions about our children in this community. And I think that's something you as a council really need to take a look at, because I get the phone calls. Trust me, I've gotten tons of phone calls. And I will tell you that if I took a poll amongst all the people that I talk to, they're 100% against this action. And I would ask you as a council to really think about what we need to do to make sure that we're not teaching or bringing something to our children that could have bad results down the road. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Next speaker is Jared Eubanks. He will be followed by William Theo.
Okay. Good evening. I'm Jared Eubanks. Thank you guys for hearing me out tonight. I'm here strongly in support of the drag queen story time and opposed to this resolution. Most importantly, because of my support for the event. This is an event that gives the chance to teach children tolerance and empathy. And these are values that enrich all of our communities, not just the LGBTQ community. We all benefit from a more sympathetic, understanding populace. I think we're all aware that children bully. Children don't bully necessarily out of malice, but definitely out of a lack of understanding. And I think we'd be lying to ourselves if we don't think that elementary-age children already bully based on other children not conforming to gender roles. It's definitely something that is a problem. And in this day of social media, which is reaching our children earlier and earlier, it's definitely magnified. Of course, this effect is disproportionately large on the LGBT community. And I do hope that this event is something that can make some of those children, when they start to deal with this, when they deal with the bullying and the isolation, feel somewhat less alone, and maybe give some understanding from their classmates instead of more of that bullying. I am so proud of the Delta Lambda Phi brothers that are taking their time and their energy, and they're also putting up with the scrutiny from the community to try to better the community around them and try to better the lives of these children. I'm personally friends with one of the people that'll be reading at this event, and I know for them that drag is an art and it's a performance and it's about their pride and something they take very seriously. It's not about sex. It's not about identifying as another gender. It is an art and an event for them. In addition, personally as a gay man growing up, I remember struggling with bullying, with shame, and I really just hope for these children, this is a window where they can see, they can feel better because there are positive role models for them. It does get better. They do get to be an included part of this community and aren't always going to be isolated. On another hand, I disagree with this resolution in and of itself, not even related to the event. This is largely political grandstanding, and I think opposition to this event, trying to shut it down, is opposed to some of our core American values. As Thomas Jefferson said, that the minority possess their equal rights, which equal law must protect, and to violate would be oppression. Yes, we're a democracy, but we're a constitutional democracy, and the point of that is to protect everyone's individual rights, not just the rights of the majority. I'd like to go on to say that the library hosts a multitude of events. These events offer different things to different communities. There's makers fairs, adult book clubs, teenage book club. None of these events necessarily cater to the entire community or even necessarily the majority of the community. On top of that, our library system has other events going on the exact same day. It's okay for it to serve a subsection of the community. It's okay for it to serve different communities. The library doesn't burn books that part of the community thinks is controversial. We believe in a freedom of speech, and that's what this is. It's a freedom of speech. It's a freedom of expression. This event isn't mandatory. This event isn't being forced on any children. This is not about protecting your children. If you want to protect them, don't bring them. This is about discrimination. This is about shutting a community out of equal access to services that a government organization provides. That's all I wanted to say to you guys tonight, so thank you so much.
Okay.
William Theo, and he will be followed by Dylan Pontiff.
That's going to be a very difficult speech to follow up. My name is William Thiele. I live in District 6. Councilman Bruce Conk represents me. Thank you, Bruce. But thank you to all the men and women who serve on this council. Last month, I came before this council and defended the Drag Queen Storytime event to all of you. I was in rare form that night. I felt attacked. Earlier that day, our Mayor Parish President Joel Robideau issued his statement. I was a ball of nerves, and I passionately defended why I felt this event is so needed in our community. And I argued in favor of children and students who are bullied by their peers for being different, and how they're going to see the words of our mayor and the words of other people here tonight and be emboldened to further bully those who are different from them. What I'm seeing tonight is that this council is being asked to bully the library, which is wrong. And I racked my brain to think about what I could say tonight to try to get the message through to all of you that even if you don't support Drag Queen Storytime, don't take a position to bully the library to not have the event. And I couldn't think of anything to say that hasn't already been said. But after jogging around my neighborhood, I had a moment of clarity and it came to me. And I want to share that with you tonight. Resolution. So this is Bellard, Ontario's solution. Denounce drag queens, but also our Constitution. Freedom of speech, man, we fought a revolution. Besides, a man wearing a dress doesn't warrant persecution. 3 to 6-year-olds, they must be protected. If queens read, children are now somehow infected. Those are your conservative views, and you want them projected. And our mayor's only care is about being reelected. Well, let me set this straight. Let's get this corrected. We all live together. We're all interconnected. Everyone's special and has a right to be respected. This hateful resolution must be rejected. Loving your neighbor is something Jesus said, but some hypocrites preach hate instead. Spiritual leaders this resolution signed. It makes me question their state of mind. Their hateful views is something I can't get behind. I believe God wants us to love and to be kind. And above all else, keep an open mind. But the haters online won't be deterred, because Michael Lunsford's got the whole pot stirred. Taking to Facebook to share his thoughts. His readers follow him like robots. I don't have followers, that's not my wish. But unlike him, I live in the parish. Across the nation, this is no big deal. Drag queens read to children. There is no ordeal. If you think this event for your child isn't ideal, just stay home. There's no reason to steal an event from others that might make them feel that they are accepted. Now, doesn't that have appeal? So let me bring you all up to speed. We're not going to back down. We're not going to concede. Ignore Robideau and what he's decreed. Ignore the haters. They're trying to mislead. I beg you, I implore you, I humbly plead. My request to this council, let the queens read. Thank you.
Next speaker is Dylan Pontiff. He will be followed by Ross Little.
Okay, before we go there, Councilman Terrio.
Yes, something just to clarify, I think this gentleman and the one previously, I want to be very clear that this resolution, this is not about LGBT. This is about public dollars, drag queens, and 3-year-olds. Nothing else. That's what this resolution is about. I want to clarify that. That's all I have for now. Thank you.
Councilman Bellard.
Yes, just to address some of the things that he said in the poem or the rap. First of all, I don't think it's a hateful resolution. And you don't have to agree with the resolution. And in the little rap, he said stuff about conservative views. There's nothing wrong with me, who's a representative of District 5 in the city and Lafayette Parish, to have conservative views. Just like there's nothing wrong for any of you out there to conversely have liberal views or different views. So when you come and say that it's wrong because it's conservative, that's just my opinion and what I think and the people that elected me. So I go back to what Chairman Nakhan said earlier. We can disagree, and that's okay. But when you say it's a hateful resolution, kind of you're reversing it and saying that I'm wrong for having an opinion and bringing the resolution forward. I respect anyone and everyone's views. It's your opinion, just like it's my opinion. And your opinion can't be wrong because it's yours. And I understand that. But to come and try to start saying that it's hateful and these comments, he mentioned haters online. Well, I'm not online, so I'm safe there. But please, just because I have an opinion doesn't make me wrong. And just because you have an opinion doesn't make you wrong. So it's not a hateful resolution. It's a resolution that me and Councilman Terrio gave a lot of thought to. And you can disagree with it, and that's why we have the public forum. They spoke about earlier American values, core American values and political grandstanding. No, this is democracy. You come to this meeting, you say why you're for it, you say why you're against it, who opposes it, who wants it. This is the American core, an open public forum. So let's just be respectful. I might not be right in some people's eyes. That's okay. But I also have to respect those who disagree with me. That's all I have, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Well said. Make sure everyone understands that. Thank you, Councilman Bellard. And that goes for everyone, because I'm sure at the end of tonight, some people are going to like how we voted, some people are going to not like how we voted. But again, these are opinions, and everyone has them, and there's no right or wrong answer, okay? But let's make sure whoever's coming up to speak, let's not name drop Mayor President Robideau and go after Councilman Bellard, Terrio, or anyone else up here, okay? That's all I have to say. Speaker.
Dylan Pontiff, followed by Ross Little.
Hi, my name is Dylan Pontiff. I'm actually going to be one of the drag queens reading for Drag Queen Story Time. So apparently to a lot of people in this room, I'm the big boogeyman. And as you can see, I'm probably the most unintimidating person you've ever seen in your entire life. I decided to do this event whenever it was introduced because I have nieces and nephews that I love very much, and I am a person that has been through a lot in their lives. I've been bullied most of my life for being a gay male, being not necessarily what the typical man is. And I thought that this event could be something that shows people and shows children, especially at that age, that understanding that people are different than you doesn't necessarily make them unnormal or makes them not good. And I think that what's truly sad is that once I was announced as the person reading, the amount of hate that I received because of this resolution that is been presented to this board. I've been called an it, I've been called disgusting. And I don't think any of these people know me well enough to say any of those things, but I think that the true misunderstanding of what this event is supposed to be and what me dressing up in drag for it is going to be. I am not there to push any kind of agenda. I was told at the Library Council meeting last night that I'm pushing the trans agenda. I'm pushing an overly sexualized agenda, and that is furthest from the truth. I am just as talented as a singer or a dancer or anyone that has a special talent. It just mine is dressing up as a woman and entertaining a crowd. Now, everywhere you can go, you can see that people can change their views for certain audiences. Just as much as someone can be an actor and be in an actor movie for a rated R movie, and they can go around and be in a G-rated movie, I can go and entertain an adults in a club, but also entertain a group of students and young children. I'm able to do that because I'm an adult and I know how to filter myself. And I just think that it is implorable of some of the opinions that I've seen and some of the looks I received here tonight. The eyes that people give you whenever they think that you are the one that's in support of this event is truly disgusting. And I am not here to obviously change anyone's views about me, but I'm here to let you know that this event is something that's going to be very beautiful. And for the children and the people that support it are going to realize that this is going to be the grooming of the next generation. We are trying to groom the next generation to not see the way that they just did. And just because I said that, you heard the little plur of people behind me. It's disgusting. We are trying to teach people to be tolerable, to be patient, to be loving. And the fact of the matter is that I'm standing right here and there's probably 50 people behind me looking at me with daggers, wishing that I would probably die in a car wreck whenever I leave here. It's truly implorable. And that is what we're trying to do with Drag Queen Storytime. We're trying to raise people to be loving and caring individuals. And I really hope that this event is going to do that for not only just the children at this event, but children in the future. Thank you.
Councilman Terrio.
Just a reminder, I think Mr. Nakane, the chair, just reminded individuals, you don't call people behind you disgusting. That was made very clear. We don't call names just because somebody, as Mr. Bellard and myself mentioned a lot, we have different opinions. There's no need for name calling. Anybody who comes up and speaks, please control yourselves, stay on topic, stay on point, please. And we apologize for all those that were called disgusting. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay.
Ross Little Jr. I live in Lafayette, Louisiana. I live in District 8. I serve on the Republican State Central Committee. I've been elected 8 terms. I've served on the committee for 30 years. I serve on the Republican National Committee for 4 terms. I've served on the RNC for 14 years. And I am an elected at-large member of the Lafayette Republican Parish Executive Committee. So in those capacities, I represent Republicans and generally conservatives. I do not speak for any of those organizations tonight. I speak for myself. My question is, and these are rhetorical questions, I'm not asking any of y'all to answer them in particular. Who is accountable? The Lafayette LCG, at the beginning of the meeting, the chairman said, we do not interfere with the actions of the board, which I totally understand. I've been reporting to board, and I've had boards before, and I do understand that. I realize that. And also that you do not remove. There's no provision for removal, and I understand that also. But the question remains, who is accountable? The Library Board of Control met yesterday and made clear that they favor this, that they do not want to change it in any way, shape, or form. And some people have asked, how does this make sense? Well, I believe it does make sense. Libraries across the country have done this with the support of their local library boards. Some might say, oh, that doesn't make sense, but I believe it does. Go to the American Library Association Office for Intellectual Freedom, their website today, and you will find that the American Library Association supports these drag queen story hours. How does that make sense? I do believe it does make sense because the American Library Association itself is very liberal. They are a left-wing organization. And what they have done is brought these views supported by taxpayers to libraries across the country as they're doing it right now. Who is accountable? Well, I think the library is going to have difficulty because the taxpayers are ultimately accountable. And I think there's going to be difficulty in approving future library taxes. I tried to keep my time in half, Mr. Chairman. I hope everyone else does too. God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Little.
Stephen Horn, and he will be followed by Amy Robinson.
Well, I was hoping to get the time to collect my thoughts, but I'm the lucky one that didn't get that, I guess. But thank you for hearing our comments tonight. You are hearing many things tonight, obviously, and you've heard many things before arriving at tonight's meeting. And certainly, I recognize that this is a complicated issue for you. It's not a complicated issue for me, but I recognize that it's a complicated issue for you because you have your personal convictions that you hold about this matter. You also have the personal convictions that all of your constituents hold about this matter. You have legal opinions that I'm sure are flying your way as to what you can and cannot do and cannot say. And so I certainly recognize the difficulty of your decision tonight. So I like to think of myself as someone who can make that which is very difficult hopefully more simple for us. That's what I strive to do when I give the sermon on Sundays. I didn't say that as I introduced myself. Steve Horn, pastor of First Baptist Church in downtown Lafayette. And so that's really my goal every Sunday when I speak, is to help make the very difficult things of life simple. And so let me see if I can't do that for us tonight, for what it's worth. And that is, first of all, I have a personal opinion and take on this matter as well, not only morally and spiritually and biblically in my worldview of life, but I'm the dad of a 7-year-old. And so I know how 7-year-olds think, and I know what they do, and I know he's not ready for this. And so I hear the argument. We've been hearing the argument for a month now, just don't go. But what if I do go? What if I don't know? What if I'm someone who doesn't know and I go and I'm confronted with this? The public library ought to be a place of all places in our city and parish that is neutral on these kinds of issues, so that a family's particular position is not compromised when they arrive at that place of neutrality. I do have a pastoral concern about this. That was referenced already. The 51, I believe it is, spiritual leaders, pastors of this parish that have signed the letter together. I hope that you would expect that as pastors, we are very concerned about the spiritual condition of our city and parish. I know that's not what necessarily guides this particular issue, but I think we want to be on record to recognize that there are spiritual implications here for us, and we are going to continue to present that in every opportunity that we have, even though I recognize that I'm 0 for 13 years, I think, here, but that's another story. There's a political concern, and that's already been addressed, and it's deeply, deeply frustrating to me, even from a political standpoint, that it appears as though we have no say. You as a council have presented your own frustration, I think, by the resolution, the previous one and the one tonight, and the comments tonight from the attorney, that you have no particular oversight in this area. And I hear your frustration in regards to that. But I teach my children that we're always accountable. You will be accountable to someone the rest of your life. I tell them now that they're accountable to me, and that in my spiritual worldview, we're accountable to God. In the city, we leave to go home tonight, we're accountable to red lights and green lights and stop signs. We're always accountable. And so it's deeply frustrating that it appears in this present situation that the library board is not accountable to someone. That is particularly grievous to me and disappointing and just frustrating. Now, some are going to say, and has been said tonight, that those are hateful. And I'm sympathetic to that idea and recognize that probably some of my side of the issue perhaps are sometimes hateful. But I also want to say that that's unfair that everyone on an opposing side, if we're going to have civil debate in our country, then we have to get past the idea that opposition to an idea equals hate. So before you vote tonight, and please vote, don't abstain in this matter, don't take the easy way out. You're a leader, and leaders have to lead. And so before you vote tonight, I want you to hear again the library's own promotion of this event, recommended for ages 3 to 6, and ask yourselves if you think in our community that this is a good idea, and vote accordingly. And that's all the resolution is asking you to do. Thank you.
Okay. Next.
Amy Robinson, and she will be followed by Arlene McDowell.
Amy Robinson, District 8. I had several pages of speech laid out for you this evening, but after listening to the people around me and the judgment that was going on for about 30 or 40 minutes, I'm a little sick to my stomach, and frankly, I'm a little disheartened from the Christians that were sitting around me, and the intolerance really has me a little discouraged this evening. This council knows how I feel about this, and they know how I feel about most issues. And why? Because I am here for almost every council meeting. And I think that almost all of you know who I am. And I would like to know, by show of hands, how many of you have seen the people that are here this evening at any council meeting? Where were you when our city was flooding? Where were you when any one of the ordinances that are important to this city were on the agenda for a vote? None of you were here. Most of you were not here. This parking lot certainly was not full to the gills and full across the street and full to the neighborhood behind us. That is a fact. And it is a shame